down and out. When you're on the street, when evening falls so hard, I will comfort you. I'll take your part. When darkness comes and pain is all around, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay you down like a bridge over troubled water. I will lay me down. When you're weary, feeling small, when tears are in your eyes, I will dry them all. I'm on your side. When times get rough, friends just can't be found, like a bridge over troubled water. I will lay me down like a bridge over troubled water. I will lay me down.
Amen. Thank you, John. It's beautiful. All right. Let's listen to these words from 1 Kings chapter 19, part of Elijah's story. Now Ahab told Jezebel everything that Elijah had done and how he had killed all the prophets with a sword. So Jezebel sent a messenger to Elijah to say, "May the gods deal with me, be it ever so severely, if by this time tomorrow I do not make your life like one of them." Elijah was afraid and ran for his life. When he came to Beersheba in Judah, he left his servant there, while he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness. He came to a broom bush and sat down under it and prayed that he might die. "I have had enough, Lord," he said. "Take my life. I am no better than my ancestors." Then he lay down under the bush and fell asleep. All at once an angel touched him and said, "Get up and eat." He looked around, and there by his head was some bread baked over hot coals and a jar of water. He ate and drank and then lay down. The angel of the Lord came back a second time and touched him and said, "Get up and eat, for the journey is too much for you." So he got up and ate and drank. Strengthened by that food, he traveled 40 days and 40 nights until he reached Horeb, the mountain of God. There he went into a cave and spent the night. May God add God's blessing to that reading from his holy word. Amen. So have you been watching the Olympics? I know you have. I tried to watch it last night, and for some reason I got mixed up on which channel it was on. But anyway, I feel bad sometimes for those athletes whose sports aren't as popular as the ones that are always on TV. Like, right, you see gymnastics, and you see this week it's been track and fields. But I want to know, how about archery? I saw like 10 seconds of archery last week. Or how about badminton? Or how about water polo? I saw just like little snippets of those. Must be kind of a letdown to have your sport not be one of the ones that everybody's, ooh, gymnastics, ooh, swimming, swimming laps and all that. But how about us? Do we feel a kind of a letdown now that the Olympics are almost over, even though we're not Olympian athletes? I've had kind of a fun time watching the Olympics. I was trying to watch the marathon last night. Today's the women's marathon, and I found out the volleyball game already happened this morning at 6:30 a.m. Susie and Harry were watching it. The women's volleyball final, and I guess the women's basketball final is today. Yeah, it's right now, is it? Okay. It's tough being 6 hours behind Paris, isn't it? So after the closing ceremonies, I'm sure tomorrow when we turn on the TV at 8 o'clock and think, what am I going to watch tonight? Oh, that's right, there's nothing on anymore. Bummer. So that's our letdown, really small, compared to those athletes who have been training for so many years. And then what about their letdown after the Olympics? So I was reading a little bit about that. Many of them have mental health challenges. We've heard about some of the most well-known athletes like Michael Phelps a couple years ago and his challenges, and Simone Biles, who had to drop out of the Olympics last time. She really shone this time, but last time she had to drop out. There are so many other athletes. I read about a biathlete, so that's where you ski and then you shoot. You know that sport? Okay. Her name is Maddie Fanoff, and she had trained for the 2018 Lake Placid Olympics, but then she got there, and she had strep throat. So she had to spend the whole time in quarantine at the Olympics, not being able to compete. Can you imagine dealing with that after all of that training? She said it was really depressing and really sad, really hard to come home after that and talk to people about it. So there's even a condition called post-Olympic depression syndrome. It doesn't surprise me at all that that would be a thing. Just think of how many hundreds of hours those athletes go through. It's just grueling. It is. So Elijah, the prophet Elijah, he wasn't an Olympic athlete, but he might as well have been, considering how he was able to beat 250 angry prophets of the god Baal, B-A-A-L, Baal or Baal. That was a Canaanite god. And remember, they had that contest where they wanted to see whose god was the best. So they made these they didn't light the fire, but they made a fire, whatever, sticks out of fire. And then they would see which god was going to light the fire first. So it was kind of like an Olympic competition. And of course, Yahweh, Israel's God, beat out the Canaanite god Baal which made Queen Jezebel really angry because that was her god. And when she came and she married King Ahab, remember this if you know your Old Testament, she married King Ahab and she brought all those foreign gods with her into Israel. So that was a little bit of a, but they had this competition and Yahweh won, and Jezebel gets really mad and says, kill that guy right there. Let's get rid of that Elijah guy. And he says, so somehow he got out of there really, really quickly, and he's running for his life. So that's where we find him in this reading today. He's running for his life, and he runs literally as far as he can and still be in the country of Israel. And he ends up in the desert between Israel and Egypt. And then he travels another day, and he sits down under this broom bush. If you look up broom bush, it really is kind of cool. It looks like an upside-down broom. You know, you got a trunk, and then you got a canopy, and they grow in the desert, and they're really good because the roots go really deep, and they can find the water in the desert. So in the Bible, they represent God's protection. If you can find a broom bush and go sit down under it, you're going to be protected from the hot sun and the heat. And if you're in the desert, you're probably there for some reason. You're probably there because you're in trouble and you need God to provide shelter. But that doesn't happen all the time, does it? Sometimes we're places like we're underneath a bridge, we're on troubled water, wherever we are, and we need God's protection. And we have this little story here about this person who came to a wise person because they wanted to be enlightened. He says, Master, I come to you seeking enlightenment. And the master said, for the first exercise of your retreat, I want you to go into the courtyard over there, tilt back your head, stretch out your arms, and wait until I come for you. So this seeker did what the guy told him to do. He sat down in the garden, he put his head up, he waits, and what do you think happens? It starts to rain, and it rained, and it rained, and it rained. And finally, the old master came back, and he said, well, my friend, have you been enlightened today? And the man says, are you serious? I've been standing here with my head up in the rain for an hour, and I'm soaking wet, and I feel like a fool. And to that, the wise master said, well, my friend, for the first day of retreat, that sounds like great enlightenment to me. It's not easy trying to be enlightened, trying to talk to God. It's not easy. So I think that seeker and Elijah would have made great companions. So I want us to imagine that we're sitting there with Elijah under that broom tree. We've just come from this miraculous event, this high. We felt great about everything, about how our lives are going and about our faith, and we're like on top of the world. That may have been how Elijah felt until he had to deal with Queen Jezebel. And so here he is, and here we are. We've come down from that mountain high into the valley below, to that bridge over troubled water. And maybe we hear the words from Psalm 23. Remember those? Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. What comes next? Yes, right. We're not quite ready for any other prayer. That's all we want. We even think our life is over, and we say to God, I've had enough. Like Elijah said, I've had enough. Take my life. And then maybe, just maybe, after a long time or just a night, we're ready for another prayer. This one says, help me to believe in beginnings, to make a beginning, to be a beginning, so that I may not just grow old, but grow new each day to this wild, amazing life you call me to live with the passion of Jesus Christ. So the question is, how do we grow new each day? That poem, by the way, is by a guy named Ted Loder. I didn't meet him. I became acquainted with his poems and his prayers a long time ago. He's got this book called Guerrillas of Grace, which is absolutely wonderful. But the question in that prayer is, how do we grow new each day? How do we grow new each day? If we start with that angel who had a message for Elijah. So there's Elijah. We're sitting with him under the broom tree. All of a sudden, he gets this tap on the shoulder, right? He's asleep. And here comes the angel, sneaks over or whatever, flies over, I don't know, taps him on the shoulder. Elijah, wake up. Wake up. It's time to get up. It's a new day. Elijah's like, he's a little groggy, not sure where he is. And then when he figures it out, he just groans and he rolls over. He wants to go back to sleep. Who can blame him? But the angel won't let him. The angel's persistent. Get up, the angel says. I've made you breakfast. All right. Nothing fancy, but it'll do. He gets up, he eats the bread, he drinks some of the water, no coffee, just bread and water. And then he lies down again. The angel doesn't give up, though. Once again, he taps Elijah on the shoulder. Get up and eat, for the journey is too much for you. So then Elijah gets up, he eats, he drinks, he feels a little bit stronger, he's ready for the journey. And you know what came to my mind here? The words to that simple song. 'Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free, 'tis a gift to come round where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in a place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight. Remember that song? It's a Quaker song. Shaker. It's a Shaker song. You're right. It's a Shaker song. Yes, it is. So to find ourselves in a place just right, wherever we are, to believe that it's just right, that it's the right place. Whether it's summer with those green leaves or fall with those orange leaves, whether we're under the bridge of troubles or whether we're high up on the mountain, that we're okay. Elijah has come down from that spiritual high, and here he is in the valley. But where's that love and that delight? But he has slept. Maybe not on a sleep comfort bed, but he has slept okay. No pillow, but it's okay. He's eaten a simple meal, no coffee, no eggs, just bread and water, but he is living simply, and he is free. He may not be able to see it right now, but he's in just the right place because he's ready. He's ready for another journey. And where does this all happen? Does it happen inside or outside? Outside. I was trying to think what percentage of the Bible takes place outside. I didn't Google it. I didn't look it up. I just took a wild guess, and I would say at least 90%, if not more. Think about it. All these stories, they're all outdoors. So does that beg the question then of why the church is so attached to buildings? If everything takes place outdoors, why are buildings so much of an identity as a church? Of course they are. Our building gives us a place to belong, a place to come together. Of course it does. We need our building. But you got to think about this. Outdoors is good. And buildings have their limits. Just ask the admin committee. Right, Keith? Right, Paul? Buildings have their limits. So one more little snippet here. This guy named Wendell Berry. You heard of Wendell Berry? Yes. He was born in 1934 in Kentucky. He still lives there. He just a couple days ago, celebrated his 90th birthday. He's a writer, a poet, an activist for small farms and for simple living. And years ago, he wrote an essay called Why I Will Never Own a Computer. And guess what? He still doesn't own a computer or a smartphone or a TV. He believes that creativity is born out of limits. I like that idea. I've been thinking about that. Creativity is born out of limits. He practices the Christian faith. He attends a Baptist church. And here's a little snippet about what he wrote about the Bible. He says, I don't think it is enough appreciated how much an outdoor book the Bible is. A book open to the sky. At least we have these beautiful windows here. It is best read and understood outdoors, and the farther outdoors, the better. This is because outdoors we are confronted everywhere with wonders. We see the miraculous is not extraordinary, but the common mode of our existence. It is our daily bread. I really love that. Yeah. So just take a look outdoors. Beautiful trees, blue sky. Don't take it for granted. Get up and eat. Get up and eat, Elijah. He's on his way to a very special mountain. He's in good company with others who have been on the same mountain, like Moses. That's where he saw the burning bush, Mount Horeb, also called Mount Sinai. It's the same mountain, just two different names. He saw the burning bush there. He received the 10 Commandments, same place, same mountain. And we're going to continue with Elijah's story in 2 weeks. And guess where we're going to be? Outdoors. Yeah, it's not going to rain. We're going to be outdoors. But for today, the question is, who is our angel? Who is your angel? Who is your messenger from God? And what are they telling you and I to do? Who is your messenger and what are they telling us to do? Especially if we feel like we're down there in the valley today. I don't know where you all feel. I'm just guessing we're all over the place. Some may be down in the valley, some may be up in the mountains, some are just kind of in between. Because life is full of ups and downs. So our prayer today is for that angel, whoever your angel is, to make him or herself known to us, to tap us on the shoulder, especially when it matters the most, and say to us, get up and eat. For God isn't finished with us yet. Amen. 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 Amen.